Hai everyone, welcome back to Tatler Indonesia Instagram Live. Senang sekali akhirnya saya Dila Yasmin bisa kembali menyapa kalian dan berbincang dengan narasumber kita yang pastinya sangat menginspirasi. Nah, untuk memulai awal tahun ya 2021, topik yang akan saya bawakan hari ini adalah mengenai perubahan. Nah, sebagai seorang manusia, pastinya kita harus selalu berusaha menjadi lebih baik lagi, dan hal tersebut akan lebih berarti jika kita membuat perubahan yang berdampak positif terhadap diri sendiri juga, tapi juga untuk orang lain. Nah, kali ini saya akan ngobrol bareng dengan Carys Mihardja, seorang anak muda berprestasi dan juga seorang founder dari sebuah organisasi non-profit dengan fokus pemberdayaan anak-anak Down Syndrome, CarysCares. Nah, hari ini kita juga akan ada 3 giveaway produk, yaitu canvas tote bag sets. Nah, jadi kalau misalnya kalian mau ikutan nih, langsung aja ya, stay tune dari awal sampai akhir, karena nanti di akhir acara kita akan ada sesi Q&A. Jadi pemenang yang menjawab bagus nih jawabannya ya akan dipilih sebagai pemenang. Nah, produknya apa aja sih? Nah, produknya itu ada tote bag, ada pouch, ada mug, dan ada tumbler. Pastinya bagus-bagus semua. Oke, tanpa berlama-lama lagi, yuk kita langsung invite Carys ke sini ya. Oke, we're waiting for her. Hi, Carys, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Oh my god. So great. It is so great that I can finally sit down and talk to you.
Thank you so much for having me today. Yeah.
So, how are you doing? What have been keeping you lately?
I'm doing good sih. Kayak kita semua kan di rumah. Jadinya, I've been at home for like 9 months now. So I've just been doing the same routine every day. I've been doing school. I've been, just doing all my hobbies every day. And so that's pretty much it.
I see. And I heard this is your week as well. How has it been?
Yeah, we're kind of at the early stage of it, but there's a lot of work upcoming in school.
I see. Okay, so I'm so excited to tell you that today we are going to talk about the foundation, CarysCares. Now, for those who haven't heard about it, would you mind to tell our viewers what is it and what motivated you to start it?
So we're essentially a Down syndrome organization. We're a nonprofit that aims to raise awareness in Indonesia, especially for Down syndrome communities. So I saw this problem a couple years back that a lot of the marginalized community in Indonesia, especially the Down syndrome, they don't have much awareness around it. And a lot of people still have this undying stigma that, it's a disease, it's something contagious. And I really want to emphasize that, it's not a contagious disease, but what is contagious is really our ignorance towards it. So
Yes.
my stepping stone really for this CarysCares organization is that I wanted to show that, even as someone who don't have much say in the world, who seemingly don't have much say in the world, I started this when I was just like in 7th grade, and I was just still doing all the 7th grader things, I guess. But we can all strive towards, helping people, helping give a voice for the voiceless, and really just use our platform, use the blessings that we have to pay it forward to the world. Karena kita kan juga in this world cuman temporarily, right? And so we really have to do the most out of it and pay it forward.
I see. And you started at the tender age of 14, right? 7th grade. I was 14. So, what was the first thing you did, and the first idea that pops into your head?
So when I was just 14, that's why we named it CarysCares. It's like pelesetan, Carys, and then Cares. Cuma diganti kata ye sama e kan. Jadinya, at first, what we really wanted to do first, like I joined a lot of rallies, a lot of march, like with Potats, the Down syndrome organization that focus on supporting parents with Down syndrome individuals. I joined a lot of their events, and that is really what stems this whole initiative. I felt like there's a lot of organizations back then that ask for, donations, fundraising,
Yeah.
and, kasi sembako. And although I think that's really good, it's not very sustainable in the sense that it's just a monetary donation. And then, misal kita kasi kaya Indomie atau beras. Plus, it's really helpful for them because they need that help. Tapi, it can only last for so long. And so, what we
True.
really wanted to focus on is how can we change this game forever, for the long term, even for the next generation. And so we wanted to focus on raising awareness and focusing on sustainability. So we didn't want to just do it as a short-term thing. I'd like to say with my parents, we talk a lot about like hit and runs. You can't just as a kid, I grew up, thankfully, with a lot of social awareness instilled in me. And however, I realized that, a visit to an orphanage or a visit to a yayasan is really good. But kalau cuman sekali juga, like, what lasting impact can you make? So starting from 7th grade, I've always thought like, we should do something that will last a long time, that will last even when, I'm still pretty young, but even when I'm no longer here, when all of us, the next generation to come, and that's really through awareness and passing it down.
I see. So it's about sustainability, right? That so
Sustainability.
they can use later in the life.
Mm-hmm.
So, being so young, what were the challenges that you faced when you started?
So, definitely first was because I needed to start with modal, right? I needed like a bit of financial support first. I used some of my like uang jajan, but definitely I had to talk to my parents about it. And thankfully I knew, but they were always been supportive of me. They've always said like, Benan, kita udah dikasih all of this, we have to just pay it for it. That's the most important thing. And I think the challenges was mainly since I was very young and still I'm pretty young. I think the legitimacy of what I'm doing might be questioned. Like, is it really, can you really make a change? But that's what I stand by, which is really anyone, maupun kaya very young, can make a change. And the
Yeah.
second thing is definitely commitment, like I talked about. In my family, when talking to my parents, they always said, ini like it's good to have all these ideas. I'm personally an ENFJ. That's a type of personality that likes to vision a lot, have lots of goals, aspiration.
Yes.
But really, what's important is the carrying out of your dreams, right? Action is what can change like a lead to a gold. And so we really focused on a lot of my commitments. We see my time commitments itu dibaginya gimana because I'm pretty active in school too, right? And I can't
Yes.
like as a kid I have to really focus also all of us on our mental health, our physical health, our spiritual health, everything as a whole. And so I can't overload my responsibilities on just one part. And so we had to see, kaya, is this a really feasible option? And when we sorted it out, and I see that a lot of us say, kaya, oh, sibuk banget sekolah, but it's just excuses, it's just our excuses to not do something, right? Kaya misal, someone wants to be healthier. It's just an excuse that, oh, I don't have time to exercise or something like that. But I think all of us inherently, we have a lot of time on our side, and it's just how willing you are to change your passion into action. Mm-hmm.
Wow. Sometimes people, one of the most difficult things that people face is like they just want something, but they can really do it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, yeah, something in your case is like it's really amazing that you managed to do it. So, what kind of advancements that have been made since you started? Where do you see
Mm-hmm.
this going in the future?
So we've been really blessed to see and experience almost an exponential growth in our like not business but our organization. And what we mean by exponential growth is definitely not like a sales only in that aspect, but the fact that we are raising awareness. More and more people are starting to know about Down syndrome. Our followings increase, and that's not for our personal gain, but we see it as, oh, jadinya lebih banyak orang tahu tentang ini kan. So it's
Yeah.
not, all of this, I guess like publishing and stuff is not about me. It really is. I love it that even in like conferences and webinars, it's not about me, but it's really about like, oh, since they know about what I'm doing, they know more about these Down syndrome friends of mine. And that's like the biggest blessings, and we see a lot of other organizations, friends starting to step up and come with their own initiative. And I know in this world, kaya, it might seem that everything is like competitive, right? But it shouldn't be. I feel like, especially if it's about social awareness, everyone should strive to help. So Bisa Beda Beda, it doesn't have to be Down syndrome. I wanted to focus on Down syndrome because that was something that was very dear to my heart. But if someone has like their passion is not in the social side of it, for example, they're interested in like AI, like misal startup, the K-drama, kita lihat kan, they can use it to help the betterment of society, and so there's no limit in really what we can do. There's so many other marginalized communities in Indonesia, especially yang masih perlu bantuan. You can help so many cancer patients. You can help, with COVID, so many seamstress, so many workers are unemployed, and so I think just that longing to help people should be the stepping stone and start of everything.
I see. So, how like this? How does awareness toward Down syndrome in Indonesia now, especially for people in your age?
Okay, so if we were to talk about it generally, in Indonesia, Down syndrome awareness is still pretty low. We see that, we focus a lot on socioeconomic inequality in our society. I know that's something that a lot of people focus on, kesenjangan between, I guess, the lower class and the upper class, and that's all equally as important, right? But I think that we have to also recognize that there are a lot of communities that still need help, and we have to use our platform and voice. And so generally, I think in Indonesia it's still very low. Not a lot of people even know what Down syndrome is. They don't know what really caused Down syndrome. They think it's an infectious disease and you try to keep away from them. They think they're not capable of all of this. And so what I wanted to focus on is really address that. I know so many organizations, they focus on social welfare as a whole, but I think that's a really good approach, But for me, especially, I think I really wanted to focus on being the voice and leveraging the potential and talents of our friends with Down syndrome. I saw that they, when I first met them, they're the happiest people. They were always so just joyful, so interactive, and I think that was really what like melted my heart at first. I really wanted to address that specifically. In terms of people my age, I think they know that it's, with more social awareness in our education, they know as the benchmark of like it's a genetic chromosomal disorder. But more
Yeah,
than that, I think they still am unaware that the fact that they're not disabled, I don't like the coined term of disability, because disability as a whole, itu kan disability, hindi nggak bisa, it doesn't have ability, and I think that's so wrong. What they have different abilities. I think all of us, that applies to all of us. Like, some people are good at art, some people are good at dancing, but it doesn't mean one is disabled. It just
true.
means that we all have ranging abilities, and that's what makes society so unique, because we have different contribution, right? So yeah, Jinya, but I think we still have a long way to go. It's still a very taboo topic in Indonesia, and compared to like relative to like maybe United States, where it's more progressive minded, more aware with all of this. And I think as a nation, we're all like, we all want to help, and I think just scratching that ignorance first is the stepping stone of.
You know, few years back, I did an investigation journal. I was a journalist at that time, and then
Mm-hmm.
I wrote about the mental health in Indonesia, right? So one of the biggest problems that people with mental health face is a stigma. I think it also, this thing also faced by people with Down syndrome as well. So, what is your view on the stigma around Down syndrome and the
Mm-hmm.
misconception that you'd like to speak?
I think stigma was, it was placed from, our historical past, everyone, and I think as the current generations, we have an active duty in breaking these stigmas, because stigma is just a word for the perceptions that we already have, right? And it was built upon by society. And I think as the current society, we have a role in breaking those stigma. Like mental health, I'm a huge advocate for mental health. I think it's really important that we don't see it as something controversial, or with mental health, a lot of people think it might be like seeking attention or what, but it's really wrong, because when you're especially having to go through those yourself, it's so painful when you hear that people are saying that you're just seeking attention, cuman kay chapter ka. And I think that's so wrong. And like with Down syndrome too, the stigma is like they're disabled, they can't do anything, they're so reliant on their parents, and definitely they need more support from their parents, but it doesn't make them less able than all of us. I think in fact they're when I see normal people and I see them, they, even with their what people might call shortcomings, they're still so optimistic in their approach of life, and they're just when they're happy, they're always smiling. Just reminds me, like, something happens to me and I'm sad, but then we really should, in a philosophical approach, we really should be blessed with what we have. And also, okay, even if something happens to us, we have to know that okay, it's going to get better, and with them too. And I hope it's going to get better for all of us. I my As an advocate of breaking the stigma, like, we try to expand our platform as wide as possible, right? And that's why, like, we collaborated with like Garuda Indonesia as an international platform. Dinya orang di airport ngeliat our Down syndrome friends interning in the airport. It really shows that mereka, I know we focus a lot on like their artistic side, their painting and making it to merchandise, but I want to show that they they can do so much more than just painting, than just doing those hobby, like, they can actually work. But that's the problem with our society. We have to give them these opportunities to work. We can't just use them as a toy for social welfare. And that's definitely, I know it's easy to make it seem like, oh, we want to show it, but I think what's important is that we have to make actual change. And so definitely in the future, I'm going to try to advocate for professional development for them, like career training, not only like the creative side of it, but like they should get more job opportunities and be integrated into this whole system that we're in, right? Get them to work in actual jobs. And I see this in, like, for example, there's a really famous model, Madeline Stewart. She walks in New York Fashion Week, she walks in Paris Fashion Weeks, and all of that just shows like she shouldn't be coined as a Down syndrome model. We can't look at them as our Down syndrome friends. They're just human. They're equally as human, but with very special abilities. And that's why I don't like it when we call them necessarily just like, oh, that's a Down syndrome friend of mine, or that's a Down syndrome individual. They're equal. We should call them by their name. They have names. They have a life. And that's so important, to see them as an individual and value their individuality instead of confining it to just their status. Then it means, like, for example, if I have long hair, yeah, I don't want to be called like, hey, long hair girl. Like, you can't just do that. I have a name, I have life. And yeah, that's really important in our society, that I feel like is still really missing and disintegrated in our society.
Yeah. So I think that the fact that we have this conversation right now about it, sometimes people like to put a label on someone, and I think that this conversation can raise awareness of them as well. So I know that CarysCares also collaborate with podcast, right? Satuan Tua Down syndrome. So what kind of programs and activities you do together?
So I just want to gush about Botats first, because I love them so much, and we don't see it as a collaboration, but really a really tight knit community that we've been with for a long time. We see them as our own families, and with Botat, they have been such a great help, not only getting us connected to all these wonderful families of Down syndrome individuals, but really we leveraged our platform in getting to know a lot of them and showcasing their potential. And so our goal is not to be selective in the creative art that we change to merchandise, that we make into
Yeah.
merchandise, but really to show that all of them have potential. We don't choose like, oh, only this painting is good, so we're gonna make that. We really want to reach as many people. And so before the pandemic, we had like fashion shows, we had gallery showcases of the work they made. Like Tatli, she was one of the first painters that like not worked with us, but really we used her painting to show it as merchandise and really get the word out. And so Ratli's painting is like, I used to compare it to Picasso because it's so nice. As someone who can't even like paint, I almost failed like art class. Seeing that they have all of these abilities was just so astounding to me. And it might seem like we're doing art and people thought like I'm artistic and I like that side, but I'm like the most non-artistic person. I can't paint or I can't draw to save my life. And so to see that, especially when you don't really have that talent and you see that, someone that people think that they don't have any talent, and being able to do that is like double the, it's like double most astounding. Like Zaina is one of a designer with Down syndrome. She's really good at making clothes, and so we collaborated it. So the merchandises from the painting, and then she was the one who designed it to a huge array of fashion clothing, fashion design, and so that was really interesting to see. One of the most important blessings I think from all of this is just hearing how appreciative the parents are to be given this opportunity to showcase their kids, works. And I think that's like that applies to all parents when they see their kids being successful, seeing their kids being recognized. That is so important for parents, and that makes them really happy. And so that makes us really happy for us when we see parents saying that they really appreciate the work we do and how it has like blessed their lives. And so yeah, that's really important for us.
I see. So for the merchandises itself, like where can our viewers like purchase them? And if they want to like join into your program, probably like visit the gallery or like to give help. How can they do?
So for now, our focus is really making the most out of this fourth industrial revolution. We want
Yeah,
to really, I feel like online platform now, even like the biggest markets, they're also relying on online platforms now, right? Especially with the pandemic. And so
yeah.
our focus is just selling through Instagram for now because we feel like it reaches the most people and we want to get the word out, right? But talking more about like our products, we have an array of product. Like for example, I have one right here. Like this tumbler is made by our friend Yukita's design, and so
Yeah.
it was like from a painting, but then we made it to an array of like tumblers, tote bags, and I think that's really important because it shows how versatile the designs are, and the designs are not even random. It's we tailor it, especially with the current conditions of like COVID-19. We see that with COVID-19, for example, bags, right? Um,
Yeah.
like leather bags, it's so hard to clean, and it's easy to wear off. And that's why we sell tote bags because it's something that's versatile to like clean and wash. And some people they might be worried that after you go out, you can't wash your bags. But that's why like with tote bags, I have it here with tote bags, like the fabric, ito kan bisa dicuci kan. Kaya for people
Yeah.
young, we saw worried about the COVID thing. It's really important and it's really big, which is why like for the sizes, it's really important for just the maximized functionality of it. And in all of our merchandises, we make sure that it's functional for everyday use. We don't want to make something that people won't use. Like so, we make masks, we make tumblers, we make thermos, and so it's something that I feel like aligns with our goal, which is that the more people use it for their everyday use, the more you see like, oh, isn't that the one yang that our friends with Down syndrome made? And that's so important because it means maximizing our platform to reach as many people as possible.
I see. So I actually have the sample set as well.
Sama tante. I have it here. I hope you like it.
With mouse as well, right?
Iya. Aku juga ada kok.
So,
Mm-mm.
so today nih untuk viewers kita hari ini yang bergabung, nanti akan ada sesi tanya jawab kita dan aku akan kasih 3 pertanyaan dan bagi viewers kita yang menjawab nih dengan jawaban paling menarik juga akan dimenangkan unique just goes back to me. Okay, so mungkin before we jump into the Q&A session, I also have few questions left for you, Nick. And congratulations for winning the Best Award 2020. So, what are some of the memorable moments and biggest lessons you learned from that?
First of all, thank you so much, Santa. But I don't see it as like me winning it. But I think as a representative of all our friends with Down syndrome, it's really important, especially APEC. It's the Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation, right? And so, especially being able to represent Indonesia, I'm not only voicing myself as Carys, but really as a citizen of Indonesia, as an active global citizen and a friend to our Down syndrome friends. And so this APEC Best Award, to give a little context, it's targeted to help, strong women entrepreneurs who do good for our society with their businesses. And I think it's so important for us, especially that we got the social impact one, because it means that we're using our platform to help people socially, to address the social issues in our society right now. And that's like the biggest blessing for me. So since it's COVID, all of us have to do it through Zoom instead of going to the host countries like they do every year. And so it was an interesting experience because I did it from my bedroom, but it's equally as fun because at first when coming in, Jujur Raja, like all of them, they have these huge world-renowned enterprises and businesses that have so many recognition already. They do so much. They have factories, like huge ones, and so it was natural for me to be a little intimidated at first because especially as a the youngest participant, I was like, oh, okay, like what am I doing here? But then I got reminded that you shouldn't be scared if you're doing it for good, and there's no reason for you to feel intimidated when you're doing this to pay it forward. I joined when I was selected to nominate Indonesia for the APEC Award. I was equally as terrified, but I was like, this is such a good opportunity because I didn't look for it for the awards. I didn't focus on that, but what I focused was enjoying the experience and getting the story out. We were there's a huge line of like judge panelists and a lot of the other members and nominees who could, when they hear the story, they can pay it forward, they can spread it, and I think that was the main goal for us.
I see. And you also met Mr. Kofi Annan, right, 2 years back. So how was the experience and what did you learn from him?
So it was such a good experience. It was a great one. In fact, I know that a lot of people my age, mereka punya stans BTS lah, atau, they like Korean actors, for example. And I definitely had my phase, but I've always been so mesmerized by meeting these people for what they've done to our world. It's like, he's a Secretary General of the United Nations, right? And that was honestly my fangirl moment. I was like, oh my gosh, like it's him. I study about him, like APEC. I study about APEC, and it's like so surreal when it comes to life. And I think if someone asks what's my greatest accomplishment, other than being able to help our communities with Down syndrome, it really was like to be featured in like his Instagram or what. I remembered when I saw it, I was like, oh my gosh, mom, like I'm in his Instagram, and because like I really looked up to him, right? Until now, even though he passed away already, he's still one of the greatest role model. I remembered when visiting New York in the United Nations headquarters, I took a picture with like his frame when I was like 10 years old, and to see him in real life and having a meaningful experience and interaction with him was definitely an unparalleled experience that I'll cherish for a very long time.
Wow. Okay. So before moving on to another session, I just want to let our viewers know if you guys have any questions, please write it down in the comment section down. Okay. So besides taking care of career we also have this huge passion in education, right? I heard that you speak English in rural areas when you were just like 10 years old. So kayak how kayak what was it like? Share that experience for us.
I started teaching when I was just in fourth grade. I started teaching when I was just in fourth grade, and I think looking back, my brother's in like seventh grade, and as a boy, I think it's a natural tendency to be less mature. But then when I think about my past, I think it's more of having a mindset with no excuses. As a fourth grader, a lot of my friends played Minecraft. They were still having like dolls and stuff, but I think it's not about, just me and relatives of my friends. They're equally as amazing people, but it's more so that um, I saw it as an opportunity that, even though we're still fourth graders, we already know the alphabet. We know days of the weeks. We know months of the year, and that shouldn't. I teach them the basics that they don't have access to in their schools, like alphabets, nama-nama binatang in Bahasa English. Casual phrases to say every day, and so I think like having that mindset without having excuses is so important. Until now, I dedicate so much of my time for this organization, and yet, some people might question like, how do you balance that, especially with IB? I'm doing the IB, right? And I think it's
Yeah.
just having that no excuse mentality. Like, I in between classes we have like 5 minute breaks. I would work on something, but definitely having that balance in your life. I like and I think it's really important that you have to know that there's a saying that if you love and truly enjoy something, it doesn't feel like a task or a it feels more as a time of enjoyment, a time that you really can. I don't know, like it just feels different when you really
Yes,
truly enjoy it compared to kalau kerasa kayak kepaksa, right? Because it becomes like a burden instead of a blessing. Mhm.
I see. Okay, so I'm sorry jadi Azan, jadi kalau misalnya suaranya a bit louder, so I'm sorry.
Iya, iya, iya.
Okay, so to give our viewers time, probably ya, I will just like uh, baca ini pertanyaannya dulu ya, yang waktu dijawab, terus nanti baru kita move to another question ya.
Yeah.
Okay, so untuk mengenalkan giveaway-nya nih ada 3 pertanyaan dari aku sama Carys tentunya. Pertanyaan pertama, nanti jawabannya langsung ditaruh di bawah ya. Yang akan diumumkan hari ini juga ya, Carys ya. Okay,
Yeah.
so the first question is, what is one of the most common misconception about Down syndrome? Nah, that's the first question. The second one, how can you help raise awareness about Down syndrome? And then the third question is, what is one of the biggest challenge faced by people with Down syndrome? Okay, so those are the 3 questions. So if you have the answers, please write it down in the comment section down below. Okay, so next question for you, Candice. Um, oh, wait for a moment. Did I freeze?
No, you're back. You're back.
Okay. No, because I'm so sorry. I think your voice itu a little bit kayak shaky ya.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. Okay. Do you have any advice nih for the younger generation who want to make a big impact like but are afraid that their voices due to their age?
I think it's most about knowing that there's really no limit. You just if you have a passion, you have a goal in mind that you want to help. it's so important to go for it. It doesn't matter what people say. If you have it inherently in yourself, you can do it. And I think that our society is very judgmental, but as long as you know it's for good, it's something that helps other people. You just have to, really chase your ambitions, chase your aspirations. Gitu aja sih. And really, yeah, just don't let people put you down. If you're doing it for the better good of our society, it's never something you should hesitate about.
I see. And I love that your mom is also one of big names in this industry. So, what are some of the things that you learned from her?
So I think what we share the most is that we're both proud to be Indonesian. My mom put a lot of emphasis on, kita itu harus bangga jadi a citizen of the world, but also a citizen of our nation, right? And so she focuses specifically on bringing batik in an international platform as an appreciation of art. And when she was young, she also did a lot of social, like welfare, like teaching Vietnamese both people in, when she was away in like Australia. And I think it's just, it resonated to me how I have to, especially when you go to like misal in inter school, it's so easy to lose your, national pride. And especially with globalization and everything, we're also focused on what's outside of our country, right? And I think that's, globalization is something so real, so important, but also we have to remember that we have to go back to Indo and we have to make it a better place. And so I think focusing on our Down syndrome community in Indonesia is a stepping stone towards making our society a more eco one, a more accepting one. And yeah, I learned this a lot from both of my parents who endlessly support me with this.
I see. So, what's next for Carys Mihardja?
Mm-hmm. So, for CarysCares specifically, we still have a long way to go. I think we've achieved a lot of things, but at the same time, it's just a start. Um, we with the upcoming 21st March, we have World Down Syndrome Day, and it's 21st because it's trisomy 21. It's a genetical chromosomal, on the 21st chromosome, and yeah, that's just a little fun fact. And so we want to celebrate that. We have like a painting competition, especially. I know that there's still COVID-19 restrictions, but that's why we're going to be very rigid with our protocols. But there will be opportunities that we're doing it virtually for people to paint. We're providing the sets, the kits, and I think it's a really good opportunity to just get more of our friends' artwork shown, everywhere around the world. And I think that's a really important thing. And for me myself, I've been busy with like school, with the student council, with many of my active engagement. But more so, I think that even if I'll be going to university in like a year, it's, it doesn't mean anything. Even though misal keluar negeri, it's still, I'm going to be continuing CarysCares. I'm still going to be continuing this initiative because like I talked about, it's a long held commitment that is not like a hit and run doang cuman sebentar terus stop. It's something that I wish to continue even after university and make this really a wide scale thing, to get them integrated into society, more than just their paintings, but like I said, the professional side of it, career development. And going back about the World Down Syndrome Day, actually, I think it's really important to not only recognize them during World Down Syndrome Day, but every single day. And that is the essential core of our mission, which is to celebrate these bright, talented individuals every single day. And that's something that's really important for me. I think in the future, I've always had an aspiration to like work di PBB, gitu. Just helping with the
Yes,
policies, helping with a more just society as a whole. And so that's, yeah, pretty much what my future kind of, I hopefully it is like. But I think for now I'm taking it just one step at a time because you can't have too many ambitions. You can't have too many ambitions. You have to really still have a goal, but take those steps in working towards a goal.
I see. Wow. Thank you so much, for having this very insightful conversation. And also, one of the most misconception about Down syndrome. Pertanyaan yang kedua adalah bagaimana kalian bisa membantu untuk meningkatkan kesadaran mengenai Down syndrome. Nah, yang ketiga itu adalah challenge apa sih yang dihadapi oleh teman-teman kita dengan Down syndrome? Challenge yang paling utama lah katanya. Pak. Nah, mungkin sekarang viewers kita masih mikirin jawabannya ya. Tapi karena mungkin Instagramnya harus berakhir, jadi nanti semua pertanyaan ini akan dimasukkan juga dalam kolom komen ada di nya Tatler Indonesia. Jadi aku Carys bisa pilih komen siapa. Gitu ya, Carys.
Works perfectly.
Thank you so much nih for joining in Tatler Indonesia
Thank you, Tante.
Terus semoga tahun ini bisa memberikan keberkahan, a lot of more blessings to you. And, stay happy, stay healthy.
You too. Don't forget.
Thank you, Carys.
Thank you, Tante.
Katanya Shell_lad. Ulang, Kak. Kok ulang
Pertanyaannya ya. Catat.
Ulang nih ya. Yang pertama adalah what is the most common misconception about Down syndrome? Nah, yang kedua, bagaimana kita dapat meningkatkan kesadaran mengenai Down syndrome? Dan yang ketiga adalah challenge terbesar apa yang dihadapi oleh teman-teman kita dengan Down syndrome. Nah, itu tadi 3 pertanyaannya. Kalau misalnya masih belum jelas, nanti akan ditulis komen di IG @tatler_indonesia. Dan jangan lupa juga ya follow @carys.cares. Nah, untuk follow up juga nih dan untuk informasi. Oke, Carys, thank you so much.
Thank you, Tante.
And thank you for our viewers today. Until I see you next time.
Have a great rest of your day. Yeah. Bye. Thank you.